Welcome to the Susan Brender Show. It's all about you. Featuring shows on health and wellness, the performing arts, politics, and people who inspire you to be your very best. And now, here's Susan Brender.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. You know, today I have a very interesting guest, and her name is Cheryl Powell. Now, she's writing under a pen name by the name of Cheryl Bannerman. She's an author of 2 published books and an owner of a 22-year-old training and development company specializing in e-learning called Learn to Engage. In her personal life and relationships, Miss Powell has learned how to turn tragedy into triumphs through her strong will, faith, tenacity, and most importantly, her quirky sense of humor, which, you know, is a wonderful thing, Cheryl, because when you're doing so much and the world is so weird, and when you treat it with a sense of humor, that's the best. Now, we're going to interview her, and we're going to ask her lots of questions about her new book, which is called A Killer's Reflection. And I want to stress that when you hear her talk about A Killer's Reflection, you're going to be just heading right down to either Barnes & Nobles, or you're going to get online and you're going to buy that book. So I want to welcome to my show Cheryl Powell.
Hi, nice to be here.
You know, Cheryl, writing a book is not easy. There are so many books out there, and people tend to go for the ones that hit the New York Times best list. But let's talk a little bit about your book in particular. What made you want to write in this genre for your 3rd book? And you've written 2 before this, and you might want to mention them as well.
Absolutely. Well, the first one, Black Child to Black Woman, was drama. And the second one, Words Never Spoken, was I would say self-help, because it had journal entries for reflection. And then this third one is actually a psychological thriller, pretty racy, and it just kind of takes everything to the next level, so to speak.
Right.
I don't want to be locked into one genre. I want to be able to write what I'm feeling, you know, what I envision, what I see, what I am feeling that I want to get across in a story. So I don't want to be locked in to a specific genre, but I still am keeping with the same theme with all my books, which is that there's a topic of social concern that's addressed in each one.
Okay, so let's go to the book that you've written now, A Killer's Reflection. Yeah. It's very interesting because it's about a little boy. His name was Douglas Randall Coleman Jr. Now, why did you choose this boy to be part of your book? I mean, it's an erotic thriller. So what happened? Where does this come in?
You know, I wanted to actually show, first of all, I wanted to challenge myself, because if you're scared of a certain topic, or you're scared to venture into a certain area of psychology, that's, for me, that's wonderful. I love to challenge myself. So I wanted to show how a boy's mind is molded as a child, and what things that may happen in his life to or around him, the environment, you know, anything that may happen to him, how it molds his life all the way through, from teenagers to middle age, all the way through his life. And that's what this is. So you are living his life. You are watching not only the perspectives from his eyes, but also his mother's eyes, his brother's eyes, the eyes of his psychiatrist, and even the detectives that are chasing him.
You mentioned before, when we were discussing your bio, you mentioned that writing a book is kind of relating something to that you're feeling. You said it's your feeling. So when you started to think about this particular book and the characters in the book, what was your feeling?
Just intrigue, just curiosity. I want to know. I wanted to know, number one, how a childhood really influences serial killers.
Oh.
Because they use that all the time. Well, they were abused as a kid. Well, they grew up around drugs. So you hear that all the time in court cases and on TV shows and stuff like that. So I wanted to, put my spin on, what I, thought. And instead of just telling a story, I actually wanted you to live his story.
Yeah, and it is an interesting story. Now, from the standpoint of his parents, what is it about his parents that were very special, or were they a problem? Because kids are molded based upon their parents and what their parents do.
Right.
I'm talking about if their parents took drugs, if their parents were alcoholic, abusers, you name it.
Sure.
What about him? What about his parents?
Well, without telling too much of the story, his dad wasn't really in the picture, and his mom was incredibly affectionate, almost to the point of making you uncomfortable. So without telling too much, that's kind of the intro to his childhood.
Yeah. Cheryl, I remember years and years ago that Colin Powell, and now there's no relationship to you and Colin Powell, is there?
No.
Okay. Well, the reason I mention it is because he was raised in a single-parent home by a mother, and look what he accomplished. I mean, it was an amazing accomplishment for, number one, an African-American kid living in a really horrible place, and yet his mother had such a great she had such a great, I can't think of the word, isn't that amazing? Impact, that's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
A huge impact on him. And as I said, look what he turned into. Now, you know.
And that's what makes this whole topic so curious, is that there are some that will stay stuck in that, atmosphere where this character grew up in the projects of New York, and there are some that grow up in that environment and makes them stronger, and then they're a huge success.
Yeah.
That's what makes it just so intriguing.
So what do you attribute that to? I mean, you can have a family where there's one kid who grows up to be a policeman and the other one grows up to be a crook. So, that's an interesting thing as well. And did you contemplate that when you were writing the book as well?
Oh yeah, it's all about that inner spirit, whether you're going to let the past control you or you're going to control it, So I'm a big fan of psychological thrillers. I read them all the time, and I watch different movies and TV shows that are based on it. So for me, this is right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Now, I didn't ask you this. Do any of the characters from your first two books make an appearance in this book?
Yeah, well, Tara Walker, the main character from Black Child to Black Woman, and then the abused woman of the alcoholic in A Words Never Spoken, is actually makes an appearance as one of the women he dated in this book, A Killer's Reflection. So, yeah, she does make an appearance, and you get to see a little bit of the relationship before the psychiatrist comes in and starts to do an analysis of how she interacts with her patient and whether it's good or bad for him.
I'm curious about this, and maybe this is just a very trite question, but I feel very strong about this. Was the psychiatrist a black man or black woman, or was it a white person? Because I'm just wondering whether you think that if it was a woman of color or a man of color, that they would be able to understand the situation about this young boy.
That's a good question. The psychologist is actually a beautiful redhead woman. She's white. And most of his sessions take place either on the phone or through video conference, because he's all over the map throughout the book. He's bouncing from this woman to this woman, and, this is what the whole thing is about, is that he's very attractive and he's very charming. And so he goes from woman to woman to woman. And so he is able to con, a lot of people. And so it really, for her, it doesn't matter what her race is. She's just listening to this story. However, through the video conference, she does know what he looks like. But for the most part, she really gets to listen without bringing race, into the issue.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are all kinds of stories on the news. I mean, you're talking about killing. People from all over the world are faced with the fact that there is crime all over. Now, when you develop the character, would you say that you were hoping, and I know this might sound ridiculous, but you were hoping that this character could be cured? I mean, cured is a strange word for a killer, but is there any way that you can sort of estimate whether there's a chance that he could have been, given an opportunity to change the way he does things?
I think a lot of the women that he was with thought that they could. I think that the doctor, Dr. Olivia Reed in the book, I think she really thought she could help him. He was going to be her ticket, I want to say meal ticket, to the good life, because she was going to cure him and write a book about how she did it and about his whole psyche and everything. So she was looking to cash in on, this success story.
Right.
So she was also hoping that she could, cure him.
Yeah, she could join him well. Was that realistic or not?
You have to read the book and decide for yourself.
Okay.
Because there are times when you feel like, oh, that's a shame, this poor guy. And then there are other times when you're like, oh, my goodness, it just sent chills down my neck,
Yeah, right.
I can't believe he just said that. Or you can see how casual, he is about abusing people and just things that you and I would just be like, oh, that's terrible. It doesn't affect him the same way. So at times you might feel sorry for him, and then at times you might hate him.
Yeah,
so.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about being an author. A lot of people have stories in their heads. They want to tell the story, but they're not sure how to do it. They don't know how to publish. They don't know how to get their story out to the mass population. Let's go through that a little bit with you. Let's talk a little bit about being an author. What does it require? What kind of personality do you have to have, and how do you get it out there?
Wow, those are great questions. I'm just learning myself. It's a learning process from the very beginning, because I started off, Black Child to Black Woman many years ago. I thought, I can just, use one of these companies and they'll do everything for me. I get the whole publishing package. I actually went through Author House. And, great. I can just sign up for one of these book tours on the internet.
Right.
And okay, it's all done, and I'm going to be on the bestseller list. And it's really, it does not work like that.
No, it doesn't.
There's just so many authors and so many books. So what I would say as advice number one is just write because you love to write, and that's it. That's number one. Just write because you love to write. Because I don't look for anything anymore. I'm not looking for $1 million, or something like that. Your passion is writing. You have stories you want to get out. You have to be focused. It's just like with me, with my day job, I work from home. You have to be organized and focused and dedicated. So if you're the type of person you get distracted easily, and next thing you know, you're supposed to be writing and you're watching TV,
right,
or something. You know, it's. I would say you really have to kind of restructure and rethink.
It's a lonely field,
though. It really
isn't
takes a lot of.
It's a very lonely field. You know, when I think about
yes.
sitting down in a little small room, which is sometimes what people have, and, you know, they have
mm-hmm.
to do the thinking and the processing of what they want to say,
right.
It's pretty lonely, no?
It is very lonely. Like I said, I work from home for my day job, and then I write at home as well. Although sometimes I do schedule like little trips to like a hotel on the beach or something. I'm in Florida, so I'll go and I'll do like a getaway, and I'll have that different environment and visuals, and it kind of inspires me to do more writing.
I hear you.
So sometimes I will change my environment, but for the most part, yes, I'm in the home office, and it does get really lonely. So that's why it's so important to be passionate about what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's like so critical. So love to write, and then number 2, you're not looking for anything in return. Okay, you just want to get your story out.
Right.
And number 3, have a process.
Mm-hmm.
So my process is, I really just do one outline. I don't do anything else other than that. Some people do whiteboards with note cards and strings and push pins with cork boards and note card, all kinds of stuff. I don't do all that. I'm just an outline person. So once I do my initial outline, which might take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks,
right.
To actually get the main story down. And it's just a one-pager.
I hear you.
That's it.
That's a great thing.
And then I just write.
Yeah, because you don't force yourself to do something that is really too much.
Exactly.
Now,
when it comes to you, it'll come to you.
Pardon?
When it comes to you,
yeah.
You'll just have an epiphany, and it'll just come to you. I could be in the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, that's what she's supposed to do. Okay, I that makes sense. I'll do that.
Do you doodle a little bit when you're someplace? Do you just write down some words? Say, for instance, you're in a place where you're having a meeting with your day job, and something just occurs to you. Do you doodle? Do you write it down?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I have Notepad on my smartphone, and then I think it's through OneNote, and then I have notepads just everywhere.
Right.
So I'm one of those people, I might wake up in the middle of the night and jot something down.
Now, this is apples and oranges. I recognize that,
yeah.
But I think it's a
mm-hmm.
very newsworthy story that we're reading, and
mm-hmm.
you probably have a real opinion about it. And I'm talking about all of these very powerful men who have been recently accused of harassing women. What do you think about that story? And do you know if you could write a book, wouldn't it be interesting to write a book about them?
Yes, it would be interesting. I wouldn't be able to because I write fiction. But so I'd have to turn everybody into some type of character. Maybe superheroes, because I do believe that they are superheroes. I believe that they're brave. I am sorry that we are, as women, so scared and put into these uncomfortable situations that we have to wait 20, 30 years to speak up.
Yeah.
That's what saddens me.
Yeah.
I think we need to do better in companies.
I think so
to make
too.
It
and
more easier to speak out.
But weren't you put in a situation when you heard about, say, Bill Cosby, a man like that
mm-hmm.
who was just so amazingly
yes.
talented, and he was just what else can I say? I mean, a guy that everybody emulated because he was just so
yes.
wonderful. What do you think about that?
I think that he's very similar to Douglas Jr. in the book because, again, this is a confident, attractive, charming man who knows exactly what to say to get what he wants. He does not take no for an answer. So a lot of the characteristics in these powerful men you will find in this main character. And it makes it very difficult for women to say, for anyone, but especially women, to say no.
Right. Is it their power?
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl, is it power? Do they possess
a power?
Is that why?
It's almost intoxicating with some men.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Oh, amazing. Well, do you have the book in front of you by any chance?
I don't have any.
Okay, doesn't matter. I just want our audience to know how they get in touch with you and how they can get your book the easiest way, because this is the holiday season, and even though the book is really a mystery and a suspense that is a little scary, if you will, but I think it would make a great book for the holidays. So how do they get it?
Well, I'm on Amazon for the soft cover copy. You can go on Amazon and look up Cheryl Bannerman or A Killer's Reflection. I have an Amazon author page, so if you click on my name, you'll be able to see all 3 books. And then also Amazon Kindle, also there as well. And what I would say for the holiday season is if you're in the market for something for a reader that has a little bit of everything, we have a holiday promotion going on for all 3 books for $45, signed copies sent out with a Christmas treat. And all you have to do is contact me through email, which is C. Bannerman, B as in boy, ANNERMAN, at BannermanBooks.com.
That sounds, well, what a wonderful gift to give somebody 3 of your wonderful books. I think it's marvelous. Now, I always let my guest have the last word. So if you had something that you want to offer to our audience, I would love to know what it is.
Oh, goodness. I don't have any, besides the holiday book set, I don't have any other promotions going on. But one thing I will say is if you are in Florida and you're around on December 17th at 2 o'clock, I will have a special table set up at the Author Festival. And so I would love it if you could come by the table. And if you'd like to purchase a book, that's great. If you just want to say hello, that's great as well.
And we're in Florida.
It is the Orlando Downtown Library for the Orange County Public Library. So it's the downtown location.
I want to tell everybody in the audience that Cheryl Powell, everything I said about her is true. She's a wonderful author. She's got a great business that she really knows how to deal with, and she's a person who you really want to get to know because she's got a lot of empathy and a lot of lovely things to talk about. So Cheryl Powell, or in this case, Cheryl Bannerman, I hope that your Killer Reflection makes a big dent in the market, and I hope that you come on the Susan Brender Show again because you've got a lot to say, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to The Susan Brender Show. To be a guest, email sebrender@yahoo.com.